Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story about a digital declaration of independence. It's about a software project that, after a total disaster, ran for safety to one of the biggest platforms out there, only to realize that true safety means building your own home from the ground up. But this whole journey, it doesn't start with a choice. It starts with a really traumatic loss that pretty much set the stage for everything that came after. It's a bit of a cautionary tale, really, about what happens when your entire digital life is built on rented land. Okay, just imagine this for a second. The main hub for your entire project, I mean everything, the code, the bug reports, its whole identity, it suddenly just vanishes. The domain name is gone. And then, to add insult to injury, a copycat site pops up in its place, just filled with spammy, AI-generated ads. That's exactly what happened here, a total catastrophic loss that just wiped out years of history.
So this timeline really maps out a painful journey, right? For years, everything's stable on their own turf. Then, bam, that devastating loss in 2022 forces them to retreat to a huge centralized platform for safety. But that safety didn't last. By 2025, they realized that just being safe wasn't the same as being independent. It was time to move again, but this time, it was going to be on their own terms.
And that became the mission, their one guiding principle. This wasn't just about finding a new server anymore. No, this was about designing a system so tough, so distributed, that it could never, ever be wiped out by one single event again. So at first, moving to a giant platform like GitHub seemed like the perfect fix. I mean, it's popular, it's powerful, it's convenient, right? But the developers pretty quickly found out that this safe harbor, it was kind of more like a gilded cage, and it came with its own set of really frustrating walls.
The first problem was technical and honestly kind of ironic. The platform was so bloated with JavaScript that the team couldn't even use their own lightweight browser, the very thing they were building, to manage their own project. Think about that. Simple pages of text were these huge resource hogs, which was the complete opposite of their own philosophy.
And it got worse. It wasn't just the tech. The whole workflow just felt wrong. The site got slower, you needed a constant, fast internet connection, and it just bombarded developers with notifications. This constant distraction, this push model, combined with really bad tools for managing community chatter, well, it led to straight-up developer burnout. And this really gets to the heart of it. It was a fundamental clash of values. Being on a centralized platform meant that one company held all the power. They could ban you, delete your account, and poof, you could lose all your data again. On top of that, the platform was going all in on generative AI, a direction the project's developers just completely disagreed with. So all of this led them to a really important question, one that a ton of open source projects are facing today. If you can't trust the giants to be safe, or if their values just don't line up with yours, where do you go? What's the alternative? And the answer they came up with wasn't to just find another big platform, another landlord. The answer was to build their own home from scratch, based on a whole new set of rules that put resilience, control, and simplicity above everything else. The plan was actually beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1, own the server yourself, completely. Step 2, all the important stuff, the code, the bugs, everything, it all lives in simple Git repositories, a universal, decentralized format that anyone can use and copy. And this was not just a case of renting a new server and calling it a day. Oh no, this was a carefully planned operation to build a digital home that was independent, decentralized, and truly built to last. You can see how methodical they were. It started with a new domain on a lean, efficient server. They picked tools that fit their philosophy, like a code viewer that needed zero JavaScript. And when they couldn't find a bug tracker that worked the way they wanted, they just built their own. Then, and this is key, they set up mirrors for redundancy before adding one final brilliant layer of security. Just look at this bug tracker they built. It perfectly shows the new way of thinking. Instead of locking their data in some proprietary database, they moved to simple text files in a Git repository. That one change made their data portable, it was owned by them, you could access it all offline, and it was automatically copied to all their mirrors. It's a total game changer. But even with this incredibly tough setup, the developers, because they'd been burned before, spotted another single point of failure. The mirrors protected the data, sure, but what about their address? The domain name system, the internet's phone book, was still a weak link.
If they lost control of their domain again, their new home would just disappear from the map. So they put in place this brilliant countermeasure. It's a move that basically separates the project's identity from its location on the web. And this right here is the final piece of their independence puzzle. They started signing their website with something called OpenPGP. The easiest way to think about it is like a digital seal of authenticity, like a wax seal on an old letter that can't be faked. It means their identity is now tied to a secret key that they control, not a web address someone else controls. So if they lose their domain again, no problem. They can pop up somewhere new, show everyone that same digital seal, and prove, hey, it's us. We're the real deal. Now, of course, this level of digital freedom isn't, well, free. It takes real effort and resources. But when you actually stack up the costs against the benefits, it tells a pretty powerful story about what's truly valuable.
I mean, yeah, it absolutely takes time and effort to manage your own stuff, but look at the payoff. You get complete control over your own destiny, a system that's incredibly resistant to data loss, and it perfectly aligns with your core beliefs. And hey, as a nice little bonus, the whole setup is super lightweight and energy efficient.
So what about the actual money? You might be surprised. It's actually pretty modest. Based on what they have in donations right now, their newfound independence is financially secure for at least the next 3 years. And that's a worst-case scenario, with zero new funding coming in. You know, this whole story leaves us with a really important question about the internet that we all use every day. This project clawed its way back to independence, and it really makes you wonder, in our own rush to use all these convenient centralized platforms for everything, what essential freedoms and how much real control are we giving away without even thinking about it?